continue and talk and get Amyna Fakude to talk to us. Amyna, Assalamu alaikum.
Can you hear me? Wa alaikum assalam. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly now. Thank you.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
All right, I'm grateful. Alhamdulillah. To begin with, I will try and define social cohesion. It is not that is a definition of social cohesion. Someone else can come with something else. But I view it as the degree of social integration and inclusion in communities and in society, coupled with the extent to which mutual solidarity finds expression among individuals, that is, within families, so that a society is cohesive to the extent that within itself, inequalities, exclusions, and disparities based on ethnicity, gender, class, nationality, age, disability, or any other distinctions are eliminated. Looking at my definition, one would easily come to a conclusion that we haven't seen it yet in South Africa. So what is social cohesion? It is identified where we see nation building. It is a tool of national identity on which nation building relies and depends. Its chief resources are business sector, working together with civil society, working together with government, and exercising and executing the will of the people. It cannot function or it cannot work without the will of the people to develop and commit to live up to shared values and symbols and sustain unity in diversity. So one might ask, what is MUSA's issue with social cohesion then? MUSA's issue is the rising levels of racially disparate inequality characterized in opulence, living juxtaposed with abject poverty. It is that which has catapulted MUSA deep into the struggle for socio-economic justice. Where did it begin? How did we get here where we are talking about forging social cohesion as if we were born yesterday? This is how it began. We operate on a consciousness that the South African society is founded and exists on the reality that in 1994, South Africa emerged from a long history in which the race, ethnicity, and culture were used as the basis for the imposition of a divided, unequal, and hierarchical society. So that's where we lost it. Social cohesion was destroyed and outlawed through, among others, active laws like the Group Areas Act and the Immorality Act. In that government, Africans who comprise the majority of South African population were relegated to the lowest rung of the colonial and apartheid society and economically and politically excluded from citizenship. So they were not citizens. They were living in a country where they were not citizens. That political and economic order had far-reaching ramifications that worked to impact negatively on the political, social, economic, and cultural life of the entire nation, as it deliberately shredded every citizen's social and spiritual fabric and fragmented the body politic in the process of constructing a racially exclusive society where only one race, the white minority, enjoyed full citizenship and complete domination of the rest of the African population. Africans, together with a significant number of coloreds and Indians, realized it could not be right. And together, they strenuously and surreptitiously got together, called themselves blacks, since they were definitely not white, and they collectively rejected and opposed the system in favor of its alternative, which is a democratic, non-racial, equal, inclusive, and united South African society. It was a system they negotiated for first, and when they failed, they struggled for it. They maintained that they maintained a genuine belief that remained and still is prevailing, that no government can justly claim authority unless it is based on the will of the people. So what the government was doing then was not the will of the people. At some stage, some white people of all-nine goodwill and sound conscience subscribed to the black ideology and joined the struggle for justice, that is, pursuing an alternative, democratic, non-racial, equitable, inclusive, and united society. Together, the people now, not the Africans, not the whites, not the Indians, not the colors, but the people now who decided to stand in solidarity with the oppressed lot. Together, at all costs, not excluding the loss of life and limb, blacks consistently and relentlessly pursued an alternative, democratic, non-racial, equal, inclusive, and united society. At the face of natural as well as criminally state-induced mortality that reduced their strength through attrition, they pursued the alternative, democratic, non-racial, equitable, inclusive, and united society, which was proposed, striven, and worked for by successive generations from generation to generation for decades, struggling for the establishment of the inclusive citizenship, eventually achieved in 1994 and endorsed by the Constitution in 1996. The achievement of an inclusive society, however, cannot be complete without actively educating citizens to a shared understanding of its meaning and purpose. The Constitution, which is South Africa's nation's book of life, does not enjoy the life at all. It is a dormant document in the library of the Constitutional Court, waiting for a dispute to arise before it is opened and the nation hears from it. In practice, in Parliament, the Constitution is in the ICU, as different members rather take the party position at the cost of all else and in the glare of the whole planet, irrespective of what the Constitution says. In society, largely, the Parliament's worldview prevails. Thus, consequently, things fall apart, irrespective of us as South Africans having one of the best constitutions in the world. We, the nation, are wallowing in social ills of a criminal nature, such as theft, lies, killings, illicit sex, and the proliferation of birth of unplanned and unwanted children, poorly managed immigration, unemployment, inequality, poverty, murder, harmful religious practices, all of which have devastating consequences for the nation. Actually, the list is endless. But what is significant is that all these are committed by the lowest of us as by the highest ranking of us, which puts the application law in a state of embarrassment and compromise, all because society is fragmented. The nation, with all these actions and social ills, is crying for social cohesion. The problem that South Africa is now going through that requires social cohesion so seriously is that people are diverting from the contract of 1994, where we came together to build a South Africa of our dreams, a South Africa without apartheid. Concentration in differences of no bearing at all or consequence in society has divided South Africa even further. They need to be removed. And the only way they can be removed is by people coming together again, making their own rules, just like the blacks of apartheid time, that is the Indians, the coloreds, the Africans, and whites of conscience came together to build or to fight for a South Africa, an ideal South Africa where everybody would live and where everybody would be a citizen. These differences need to be removed in a blend, educated, managed, and sustained manner. That is, in a natural conversation, a dialogue of the people. Planning thereof is always and invariable by the people themselves working together, not by government or a select few individuals doing it for the people. People live effectively and competently with rules they themselves make for themselves and which they themselves monitor in agreement and in consensus with one another, irrespective of what party they belong in. There can neither be social cohesion nor nation building without active, responsible citizens using their capabilities for the benefit of the country. Social cohesion is about people, nothing else but people. It is about people living together harmoniously, safely, sheltered and nourished, sharing a sense of belonging and participating in the civic and social life of their communities. It is an integral component of the open opportunity society for all, in that individuals feel empowered with families functioning and communities connected and bound together by shared values. I have to stress the issue of families. We seem to become fashionable when it comes to families and think and believe anything is family. From the interfaith perspective, there's only one family, that in the style and fashion in which the Almighty Allah made the family. A father, a mother, the children, all of them living under the one roof, under the leadership of parents who are willing to raise those children. Today, we have child-headed families in South Africa. And today, in South Africa, we do not have a plan of how to get people to talk to one another. We are hankering after something fashionable that is done elsewhere, or how the family runs elsewhere other than in South Africa. We are deviating from our ways. As a result, we are running helter-skelter and things are getting worse by the day. When society is cohesive, a possibility exists that social ills that drive crime, such as substance abuse, child abuse, and unemployment, are eradicated. Ultimately, poverty too is reduced, since everyone lives by the same values for the same outcomes. Thus, society coheres and help one another. In a cohesive society, children grow up understanding that one is free by using one's available opportunities that are intertwined with the rest of society's opportunities. There is never a me and me alone, or me, myself, and I in a cohesive society. Social cohesion is generally community-based and located at the micro-social level. It starts bottom down, not top down. And bottom, when we talk bottom, there are people who imagine that they don't belong there. That is where we all come from. We all proceed from families. Even if we are already living in the upper echelons of society, we belong with communities. We belong with families. That's where cohesion begins. Social cohesion is generally community-based and located in a micro-social level, while it is at the same time underpinned by a national sense of belonging and the extent of legitimacy of social institutions. Social institutions need to be built by the people. It is characterized by, as already stated, the above: belonging, inclusion, participation, recognition, legitimacy, shared values, cooperation, and belief. Inter-community cohesion gives birth to social cohesion. Inter-community cohesion is the baby of family cohesion. If we do not have strong families, there isn't a possibility we will be able to have cohesive societies, because we cannot build communities. Cohesion is an intermediate level of social cohesion necessitated by the vastness of South Africa, Southern nation building in human functioning, which is the family. Then we go to community, then we go to society. By belonging, what do I mean? It is a dimension of social cohesion, the very, very first dimension of social cohesion. When I said people giving birth to unwanted children, I was pointing to belonging. To be part of and to experience a sense of affiliation to the community and a larger society, or to a people and a larger people. It involves processes of identification. Children are identified in their families, and acceptance within a community and larger society. In a diverse society such as South Africa, it requires identification with and acceptance of groups. I said before, Africans were excluded from citizenship. Inclusion is to be included on an equal basis in all social activities and rights, and to have equal access to all of life's opportunities. The third dimension of social cohesion is participation. This unhindered means active involvement in community and social activities and programs and events of one's nation. This in South Africa has not started yet. It needs to start. And we need to start it by educating society first to take their position and participate in the running of their country. Recognition, to identify with, contribute to, recognize, acknowledge, and share values, and be recognized at the same time as the group exercises and applies values, all of which they all subscribe. So we recognize each other by the values we uphold. Legitimacy. Legitimacy refers to the integrity and social acceptance and recognition of public bodies and leaders representing community members and citizens. Even in the family, legitimacy does apply. Children must be born in legitimate families, not just be thrown into any way and be called children of that family. This is what we need to do. We need to educate one another as society and act right according to our scriptures. Fundamentally, they actually teach the same things, but in practice, we all deviate in a way or the other. Social shared values is the sixth dimension of social cohesion. In societies with diverse cultures, it is to be expressed. There'll be diverse and even divergent values. South African citizens as a society in conversation need to exhaustively interact and debate what works for them in order to agree to subscribe to a basic set of shared values, among which feature broader national values such as democracy, freedom, equality, and justice. Cooperation, a willingness to cooperate, not to be coerced to cooperate, a willingness to cooperate and work together on community, social, and national projects with diverse citizens. Belief. We might be in different beliefs, but bottom line is we all believe. So in communal mobility that works in solidarity for self-help as a collective and confidence in the future of community, with the conviction that future of the community depends on mutual cooperation of all citizens of the country. The Constitution as it is not embedded in society right now. However, if South African society could sit down together, work together, and allow themselves to embrace the values in the Constitution, they could together concretize the Constitution in their daily lives and live according to it. This gulf between formal citizenship and reality lies in the heart of the violent breakdowns that happens. We have a constitution and we do not live according to it. We have a value system and we do not live according to it. It creates not just a gulf, but a whole canyon. Fair and inclusive citizenship means everyone has an equal chance to exercise their rights in the various processes, forums, and structures, which is integral to building a cohesive society, working together through shared values. I keep on stressing shared values. Shared values we have, and we all agreed to them when the Constitution was promulgated in 1996. However, none of us took the step to educate ourselves or to educate society about that Constitution so that we could live according to it. Finally, let me say, citizens need to be united in the interpretation of their Constitution, using their diversity to propel South Africa towards a common future rooted in their common South Africanness and South African identity, so that when they say we, the people, they know who the next person that is just sitting next to them or across the road is. Because where there are shared values, people know one another. Where people dialogue and talk and agree and have consensus on how they live, there is consensus and there is cohesion. A nation, to be a nation, consists of shared and recognized attributes such as shared origin and history. We do have that. The history I just related. No South African would deny that history because it happened. It is our history, our shared history, which we must work to ensure it does not re-oppress us. An internationally recognized territory, we have that. A unitary sovereign state, we have that. A single judicial system, we have that. A shared economy, we definitely do not have that. We still have a lot of haves and have-nots. A single public education system, we have that. Nationally recognized languages, nationally recognized languages, nationally recognized cultures, nationally recognized religions. We do have that. Hence, we have the interfaith. And those people, the people in religions, are beautiful people. They are prepared to come together and work together. All we need is leadership. Shared values, no, we haven't got that. We are struggling to have that in our interfaith community. We still have not arrived. Dogmas and doctrines stand in the way of unifying the people of God. Shared symbols, we have that. A shared consciousness, not yet, until we begin talking with one another. We need to arrive at a level where we are going to achieve Ubuntu. As Madiba said, we need to live accordingly. and said we need the reconstruction and development of the soul. He wouldn't have said reconstruction if something had not been broken. We were a broken society, so we needed to be reconstructed. Please, let's begin doing that using social cohesion. Ubuntu society, as described by Madiba during his inauguration in 1994, he said, "Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. Let there be work, bread, water, salt for all. Let each know that for each the body, the mind, and the soul have been freed to fulfill and conduct community conversations in various parts of the country and discuss the critical question of what it means to be a South African. May the Almighty bestow his blessings upon MUSA and bless their efforts. Maybe, inshallah, bless the whole country to collaborate with MUSA to build the South Africa we want, inshallah. Thank you.
We thank you so much, Amyna Fakude, for that brilliant historical account of social. Can I talk now? For that brilliant discourse on, social, or the lack of social cohesion in South Africa, and the struggle that ensued as a result of that, and moving forward up until where the formation of the Constitution and how this very same Constitution is not applied, and how people today need to regroup, to dialogue among themselves and work together to make their own rules in order to have to, better use their living shared values of the past in the present. And, also you touched a little bit on what Angela Fick spoke about in terms of the struggle and how we, being a fragmented society, we need to rather not talk of social cohesion, but to talk about solidarity. Without much time to waste, I hope Tahir Sutota is ready. Tahir Sutota, if you could just grace us with your talk. Thank you.